Is this also in
Yes, yes,
Palestine?
yes. That's also from Palestine. That's from the show, her and I. She was also in the community piece. That's Hannah. I love Hannah. I'm actually working with Hannah right now. She is, Hannah is now a college student in Jordan, and she called me up just a couple days ago. Coincidentally, bring this up. And she called me because she's in a tough situation because she's in college now in Jordan, and her wheelchair isn't working very well. I remember, so that wheelchair wasn't isn't right for her. And the
Hmm.
other guy that was in the wheelchair, his wheelchair was so bad. I took all the extra stuff. I had like extra wheels with me, and I left them for him. And some brakes. I took some brakes off of my wheelchair and said, "Here, put these brakes on your wheelchair. Whatever I could strip my wheelchair. If I could have crawled to the airport, I would have left him my whole wheelchair."
I
Um,
bet.
and so Hannah just called me up recently, and she asked me to help her, and I'm going to try to help her raise some money or something because she needs a new wheelchair, and it's just not easy. It's just tough.
Right.
Um, and I love her, and I love her. And then actually, after I left, and I've done this a couple times on our international stuff. When I left Palestine, I did some fundraising, and I was able to bring Hannah to California for a physically integrated dance intensive, summer intensive that they do every year, where she went and met disabled dancers from around the world that were doing stuff that she just loved. So yeah, we did some fundraising. She came to California. She was in their summer intensive, and then went back to Palestine, and now she's in college in Jordan.
Awesome. That must have been a pretty crazy trip for her going to California.
She was blown out. California. She was in Oakland and Berkeley and San Francisco of all the places. Like,
Oh
and for those of you who
man.
don't know, I mean, you all understand how it is, but Berkeley and California is kind of the birthplace of accessibility and disability rights. You go there and people using wheelchairs are just flying around everywhere, and I love it. So, like, if she'd have come to Tampa, she would have seen me and maybe one of my buddies. But
Right.
she went there, and it was just all kinds of people with wheelchairs and crutches and whatever, just out doing their thing all the time, and she was blown away that that could happen. So that was real inspiring for her, and I'm grateful to know Hannah. She is a shining light in my life for sure.
That's awesome. Yeah, I was just in San Francisco and Oakland, and I love it too. Let's see. So this is at Disneyland on top of the world, right?
That's that is in Russia. You might want to. Can you go up a little? I do see like the dancers are cut off. I don't know if you want the dancers or the bill. There we go. I think that's
I
good.
want
Oh,
everything.
okay. I don't know what you actually. Maybe you see differently than I do. I
Is
didn't
it
see.
better now? I can see
Yeah,
the
now I
dancers
see it.
and the building.
Yes,
I
there's Marion and Della and Calandra. Yes, that was our second international trip. That was we went to Russia. The guy from DC who set us up with Palestine. He also went. He would then went to Russia because his company tours around the world, and he got great feedback from the people in Palestine. So he set us up with this Russia gig, and then
awesome.
after those two, from there, it was great. He set us up with this, and then a different Russia gig came along from not him, just from word getting out, and a different Russia gig, and then a China gig, and then we just began to get international recognition. Um, so yeah,
Magic.
and this was the first time we took a whole cruise. The first time was just Lamus and I went on a training mission. Like we thought we were just going to teach, but this is the first time we went and taught and performed, and we did our community engagement model that kind of grew in Palestine. That idea, we brought it here to Russia with us, and we did that. But we performed, and we actually did this tour is
Yep.
Moscow. Well, we did three cities on that tour. We went from Moscow to Yekaterinburg to Perm. Um, Man, it was cold. We were so tired at the end, but we were also so full, and it was a wonderful, wonderful. It was a tough experience. Those are some tough women right there. Uh, yep, I'm lucky they're not too tough because they were ready to kill me at the end of it. But but it's all good. We had such a good time. Yeah,
Well, that's the advantage of having wheels, right? You can
absolutely.
later. I'm out of here. So I'm not. Dance is not my my main area of expertise, but there is quite a tradition in Russia for dance, isn't there? It's like a big deal, isn't it?
Oh yeah, yeah, especially for ballet. Yeah, yeah, for ballet it is. And in fact, yeah, when we went to Russia, it is funny because we met like we've been to Russia 3 times now, and we've probably met like 4 or 5 um, physically integrated companies there, and
Wow.
they all do ballroom dance. They are all like, and I love it. I love it. But you know, ballroom dance, it is like the men are the men and the women are the beautiful women, and there's the roles, and they're amazing and blow me away. But it was every single integrated dance company in Russia was doing that sort of format, and yeah, it was a brilliant and amazing experience. Yeah, but definitely, and you can't go to Russia. You got to have your A game on if you're going to go perform in Russia. That's for sure.
I bet. I bet you also kind of blew their minds by not following that
Oh yeah,
script.
for sure. Yeah, yeah. Oh, for sure. You know, and the places we go, um, a lot of our mission really is beyond dance because we go to places that are not very accessible. You know,
Right.
we've been to everywhere that we go. Really, Russia, Poland, China. China. You know what was brilliant about China?
Palestine.
I'm going to tell you this amazing thing that happened because we go there and we really try to give opportunities to people with disabilities that they haven't had and show them or inspire them, motivate them. And we did a lecture at a library in China, and they didn't have a ramp, and they installed a permanent cement ramp just so that we could get it. They didn't want, I don't know if they didn't want the Americans to know they didn't have a ramp or whatever the deal was,
The
but they
optics weren't good.
exactly. And so then that library was, you know, at least more accessible than it was. So yeah.
That's amazing. I mean, what that's a huge impact you've had on, I'm sure, hundreds and hundreds of people, maybe thousands because of that. It's easier for them to go to the library now. That's
When,
awesome, man.
when we went to Russia, actually, this specific trip in Russia, I felt like, um, you know, back in the early 90s, we had the big movement, the ADA, American with Disabilities Act. And that was a whole movement. Like to get any change here, you have a big movement, right?
Right.
And life for people with disabilities was just gradually got so much better after that, exponentially, maybe. Um, I felt like when we were in Moscow at this time that they were going through their ADA moment. And I felt like we were a part of that. We did, because when we go, you know, it's not just performing. We did lectures. We were at a college, at a university, speaking about inclusive practices in America. You know, because I have a degree in special education as well. Um, and so we do lectures. We've gone to um, uh,
So you're not
hospitals.
just winging this?
Not just winging it, man. Not just winging it. Some of it I wing. Some of it. But we do lectures on disability inclusion. You know, we go into all different. We've been to colleges and worked with college students and worked with professors and been to hospitals and worked with hospital administrators and physical therapists, as well as performing, as well as working with the people in the community and going to rehab centers. That's what we do when we go overseas. That's what it's all about.
That's fantastic. You're my hero, Dwayne Scheuneman. Dude, you rock, man.
You are showing me all of my heroes today, all in one. Yeah, one. These are all my heroes. Everybody you've shown so far is my hero.
Well, I'm glad to be able to be a part of it. This is exciting. So here's some more craziness. Someone's balancing on your back or something. What's going on?
Yeah, that's one of my heroes right there too, Keon Sigari. That's with Axis Dance. So that's when I left Florida to go dance with Axis Dance. Um, I'll tell you how that story, how I ended up there for 4 years. Um, so I met Judith Smith, the director and founder of Axis Dance. And she's an amazing woman. She's a mentor and a hero and a sister, all of that to me. I love her dearly. And I don't know when I first met them, 2005-ish, right around maybe just before, right when I was starting, right when Amy and I were starting, because Amy and I made this little duet one time, and I sent it to Judy, like, Judith, check this out, and she was all nice about it, and now here I am, like almost 20 years later, and I think about what that little duet looked like, and she was so like, oh yeah, it's so great. So I know how long ago I met her. And over the course of the years, every now and then she checked in, are you interested? Do you want to come out to California and dance with us? Over the course of 15 years, from time to time, not like every year, but maybe every time they're looking for a new dancer, she offered the opportunity to me. But I was here doing Revolution's Dance. I was raising two kids. My brother's kids, not my kids, but my brother wasn't around at the time. He is now, but whatever. I was raising two kids, and Revolution's Dance was growing, and so I was really tied down all the time. I was like, man, Judy, I would love to, but I can't. But I met up with them many times. Like, they were in Miami 3 times doing workshops, and I went down there. I went out to California, and did a workshop with them. And then in 2014, in December, Judith called me up. So this is now 10 years of her chasing me. Not chasing me. It wasn't like that. It's offering me the opportunity to come dance with Axis. And by this time, at this time, they had a dancer, Joel Brown, the amazing Joel Brown. I should get that guy for you to interview sometime. He's off dancing in London. He's amazing. Sweet. He was dancing with Axis at the time, and he got injured. And they were in the middle, they were on their winter break, but in the middle of touring, they had this piece that you see here and some other pieces that had it. And, especially at that time, there weren't a ton of, wheelchair using dancers around her, and they needed to fill that spot.
Right.
So Judith called me up, and she didn't even ask me at this point. She didn't even say, like, are you interested? She was like, do you know anybody? Because I had turned her down a few times. And she,
oh.
Yeah. And I don't want to say turned her down. It wasn't like she was ever, anyway, you get it.
I know what you mean. Yeah. She wasn't asking anymore. She was just like looking for information.
Yeah. She was like, do you know anybody? And I said, actually, Judy, I could probably fill in for like 6 months now. Revolutions is doing well, and I think our children's class is going. We don't have any performances, booked. If you need me to come for 6 months while we look for somebody else, I could do that. And she said, well, Dwayne, I would need at least a year commitment from you. I would at least need a year. That'd give us a year to look for somebody else. I said, okay, I could do a year. I mean, we're a good place. I'll talk to everybody here. It can kind of run without me for a year.
How exciting.
And then, yeah, exactly. Yep. And, and it was actually exciting to be in a place after 10 years of, establishing Revolution's Dance and having to do so much all the time, to be in a place where I knew I could say, yeah, I could go, and it's gonna keep living. It's gonna keep going. I loved it.
That's the dream, man. Beautiful.
Yeah. And I went, and then 1 year turned into 2, turned into 3, turned into 4, man. And I came back here. So this piece, Joel Brown, and when I watched him do this piece, and I was like, I don't know, Judy. I was like, I'm not so sure I can do that. We made some, I'm going to say this, but don't get me wrong. Joel is also an amazing dancer, but I was 48. Joel was like 23. Oh. And, big, strong kid, man, amazing kid. And he's not a kid anymore at the time. And I was like, wow. But yeah, I went and did it. We made some changes to the piece, just small ones, but I did this, and this was called, this is called Divide, and it was choreographed by Mark Brew, who is he's now the director. Judy is retired. He's the director of Axis Dance. He choreographed this, but Mark Brew you guys should look him up. MarcBrew. He is probably one of the world's most famous disabled dancers. He was a dancer before. He's one of the few of us who was a dancer before he became injured and got a spinal cord injury. And so he's an amazing artist and brilliant man, and I love that guy. And when I came to Axis, Judy was sort of retiring, and Mark was coming in as the new director. And he choreographed this piece. It's a trio. You can see my friend Brendan behind me. Brendan's an amazing dancer. He's like 6'4", and yeah. At one point in this dance, I'm sitting up and Keon's standing on my shoulders, and she falls backwards, and Brendan catches her. Yeah, it was this was the next level. When I did this piece and went to Axis in terms of performing, that was, I leveled up right there. That was, yeah. So certainly love it. That piece, you know, I suppose that piece called Divide is really important to me for that reason. That was like, I have this motto, I'll tell you. Can I tell you all this? Am I good?
Yeah, man, please. I'm loving this.
If I was to tell you the whole story about when I broke my neck that day, that it would be a lot. But the point of it is, I was in the hospital and I was out conscious. I broke my neck at a friend's house at a swimming pool. And that friend got me out of the pool. I was awake, I was conscious and everything, and I went off to the hospital. Then I woke up a few days later, or 2 days, I don't know, it was all hazy, right? And I'm laying there and I'm kind of opening my eyes slowly. And I guess, you know, during the couple of days in intensive care unit, only a couple people could be in the room at a time. So people were coming in and out, my family and my friends. It just happened to be that at the time that I came to and I sort of opened my eyes, my friend Terry, whose house it was that I broke my neck in his pool, and he got me out of the pool. And he was a really great guy. He just happened to be the person that was in the room at the time. And so I kind of like, as I came to, I kind of looked at him and he was looking at me, and we were kind of both quiet for a moment. And he said to me, he was the first one to speak. And he said 2 words. He said, "Game on." And that's sort of been my mantra ever since, like, game on. And the reason that came to mind is because I was going to say, when I went to Axis and I took that next level in terms of my challenge and my performing, that was a game on moment for sure.
Right on. I'm going through a game on moment myself as we speak.
Man, you're going to do it, man. You got to do it, right? Game on, brother.
Game on. I love it.
I only hit home runs, man.
There you go. Right? I don't bother swinging at anything else.
There you go, man. That's right.
I love it. What the hell's going on here?
Yeah. I leveled up, man. This was actually another piece choreographed. Now, this one was choreographed on me. This was Radical Impact, also choreographed by Mark Brew. And yeah, that's Yuko, is just an amazing, such a talented, that girl might be one of the most amazing and most disciplined dancers on the planet. Actually, so is Keon. I danced with some really amazing people in my life as well. And definitely Keon, who you saw in the picture before this, and Yuko right there. And yeah, so this was kind of cool because, you know, the other piece was me learning a Mark Brew piece that was set on someone else, you know. This tour here was a first Mark Brew piece that I was able to contribute my own self to and put myself into and work on. And this was a little duet with me and Yuko. This part, you can kind of see the other dancers in the background. You see the little white things in the back.
Yeah, barely.
There's, how many of us are in there? 1, 2, 3, 6 of us are in this piece. It's 6 of us. And at one point, sort of, it all stops and it's fast. I mean, everyone's flying around, zoom, 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 zoom. And then it sort of all stops for a moment and they all kind of fade to the back. And then it's just Yuko and I do this little duet. And I don't start on the ground like that. I'm in my chair and her and I are working, and I work to the ground. She climbs up on me. I work myself back up. It's an amazing little duet. I love making it with Yuko. I love doing this piece with Mark Brew. Yeah, this was the last piece that I did. The other one you saw was my first piece with Axis, and this was the last piece I did with Axis.
Wow, that's pretty cool. Bookends like that.
Yeah.
All right, let's see.
But I looked horrible in white. Oh, here we go, man.
But it was stark.
Talking about this. Yes. Yes, this is Axis. This was we performed this in New York, and I was just talking about Kiana standing on my shoulders, and she falls into Brendan's arm. I said backwards. I don't know why, but she falls forwards. But yeah, this was the same piece that I was talking about before. Kiana was on my back when you showed it, and now she's standing on my shoulders. Yeah, and this was interview we did for Dance Magazine, and this performance here was at NYU in New York City.
Awesome. Yeah,
performed in New York City like 3 or 4 times. Yeah, man.
How did you get to Carnegie Hall?
There you go, man.
Practice, right? Isn't that what they say? How do you get to Carnegie Hall?
That's it.
That's awesome, man.
I love touring with those two right there. Those, I mean, I love those two people right there.
I bet they love you too.
God.
I can feel it. That's awesome, man. You've definitely you're performing at a high level, my friend. It's a
Oh, thanks,
beautiful
man.
thing. Yeah.
Thanks.
Now, this is kind of cool because I don't know the story behind this, but when I think of you, this is kind of how I think of you. Like you're bouncing around, you're doing some crazy shit in your chair that like it's just like, "Oh my God, is he okay?" But but you're killing it, man.
Yeah, yeah. This was actually the same piece with Yuko with Axis, Radical Impact. And you ever see like um, acrobats or whatever who like two people will get together and they're kind of rowing across a grassy field or even on a stage, and like one is on top and the other's on the bottom and the other one's on top and the other one's in the bottom, and they kind of just do this crazy thing. They go, that's literally what that's Scotty that is behind me there. You can see his feet there.
Hmm.
And we are in the middle of one of those scenes. We start sort of stage left, and I tip over, and then he's on top, and then I'm on the bottom, and he's on top, and then finally we're both upright as we go across the stage, and you're kind of catching us in the middle of that moment.
That's awesome. So this makes me think a lot about. You mentioned you had some videos. So you have a Revolution Stance YouTube channel. Is that right?
Yes, yes, for sure. Yeah, yeah. You
Okay.
could check out all my crazy flips and tricks, and I need to get some bloopers up there. I gotta find some bloopers.
Yeah, bloopers would be good. I need to get with some bloopers too, man. That's when you know that you've really upped your game, right? Is when you start doing the blooper reel.
Yes,
That's
I
when you
can
know
find.
you've
Yeah,
arrived.
just nothing. Flipping over on my back in China and Palestine. When you get some bloopers, then you know that's when you made it. Yeah.
Exactly. That's awesome. Yeah. So the name of the channel though specifically is Revolution Stance, or what's the name of the YouTube channel specifically?
Ooh man, now you were gonna kill me, man.
I'm putting you on the spot.
Yeah, I don't even know. I've had it for so long. I'm actually cleaning it up right now because the reason I don't know is because I think it's Revolution's Dance, but it is. I think if you look Rev Dance, you have to look Rev Dance.
Okay.
Here's the problem: it is Revolution's Dance, but what I didn't know at the time, so I came up with the name of the company for the wheel spins Revolution, and then a play on words like it's a change, it's a growth and dance, Revolution Dance. So I was like, hey, I'm so smart. This is great, Revolution's Dance. It's gonna be a brilliant name. Well, then that stupid game came out, Dance Revolution, and then there are so many other companies called Revolution's Dance. So if you Google Revolution's Dance, you're gonna find a whole bunch of stuff. But
Right.
if you go to YouTube and look up Rev Dance, you'll find us. You'll find our
Okay.
channel.
Perfect. Rev
I think
Dance.
it's called Revolution Dance,
REV.
but yeah, Rev Dance. Sorry.
Awesome. No, you got it. Okay, cool. I just want to make sure that gets out there because seeing the still pictures is actually really powerful too. But of course, dance is a in motion kind of an art form, isn't it?
Yes.
All right, and last but not least, your Game of Thrones moment.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, this was this is my return to Tampa. In 2019, I told you, or yeah, I came back in 2019, and I was like, I'm gonna lay low, and then people just started calling and calling and calling. And I went to just in this past year, Poland and London. Well, this was, um, man, you think there's a duet in this piece that it doesn't last long. It's not the longest thing I did, and I don't know if it's the most artistic. Although the whole piece is this moment where I do it's not even a duet; it's a trio. Um, but it is the crazy. It's right up there with Scotty. It's one of the craziest. Definitely took the most strength I had. I carried. So anyway, about this piece, you'll see if you go check it out. I'll put the duet or the trio up there. Um, this is a really lovely moment, and I'm happy to finish with this because this piece, it's my first performance ever, and I wish I had a cheesy little photo for you. It was at the Tampa Bay Performing Arts Center. I had I had plenty of hair that I bleached blonde. It was all spiky, and I was wearing like musical. It was all musical theater type numbers, so I had some really great cheesy costumes on. The first show I ever did at the in a little side black box theater at the Tampa Bay Performing Arts Center, which is like the big main theater in Tampa, as you know.
Yeah, T-Pack, right?
So fast forward, whatever, 15 years later, I'm back here in Tampa just recently. This was just in October of 2019. There's this really amazing, amazing company. This is a community cast here. Just like I was telling you, like the work I really like to do, bringing community together,
Yeah.
which Revolutions Dance is always about, what we really try to do. Well, there's an amazing company, Diavolo Dance, with a V, not a B, Diavolo, out of Los Angeles. They do crazy, crazy acrobatic work. I'd flip in and fly, and they always have props. You can see them on YouTube easily. They've been on America's Got Talent many times. They have these, when I say props, like they bring in like a Noah's Ark looking thing into the, and as it's rocking back and forth, the dancers are flying off of it and flipping and spinning and catching each other from like 15 feet in the air and all this crazy stuff. Well, they have a project that they do called The Long Journey Home. And they do it once or twice a year. They'll come to a city. So I'll tell you what they did here, but this is what they do. Well, no, actually, I'll tell it to you like this. So they go to a city and they get veterans to volunteer to be in a dance piece, right? And they have this crazy, crazy Jacques Hines. He's an amazing man. I learned so much from him. I mean, because this is a guy, I'm telling you, if he was in San Francisco, people would be dying of heart attacks watching the way this guy spoke to people. But I'm telling you, he has a bigger heart than anyone. Then you would take all of San Francisco and put them all together, although they're all great and wonderful, beautiful people, and you might make a heart as big as Jacques. Wow. But when he's in the studio, he will be like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Gordon Ramsay style.
Oh my word, yes, and he's from France, and he has this, but he's everybody. But I don't know a single person that was like, this fucking guy, I'm out of here. Like, because he's also like brilliant, and the whole piece is about humanity, and he does this amazing thing. They go into cities and they get veterans to volunteer, and they work with them, and they don't just come in for 4 or 5 days, which is what We Could All Revolutions Dance does, but only because we don't have the budget. But nonetheless, they come in for 3 weeks.
Wow.
In the summer or whenever. They choreograph, and you work with them 6 days a week. They work with these vets 6 days a week for 3 weeks, or like 8-hour days. And he brings maybe a handful of his dancers, and however many vets sign up for the project, and he choreographs a dance, a piece, and it's like 30 minutes long. And you know, some of the pieces have videos in, and he goes to the city, so you know, they show up ahead of time. Whatever theater they work, they put the announcement on. 5, 6, 7 vets come. They come there. They're like, okay, we've got 7, 8 veterans. We've got 5 of our dancers. We're going to put a piece together. Sometimes it's been 15 minutes, 20 minutes long, whatever. Well, I'm going to give some props to Tampa Bay veterans community and dancers. So when they came in June, I got to tell you, Jacques was blown away. We had 13 veterans show up. They were like, we never get this many veterans. On top of that, when he saw a veteran, a disabled veteran, who was an experienced dancer, he was like blown away. And so we worked with them and these veterans, and I love these people because this was some hard work for them. And we're not talking, it's not like, we're not talking a Marine who just got out 2 years ago. You know, these are veterans, they're living their lives, you know, some of them have some art, you know, art interests, maybe even some of them have danced, but we're not talking professional dancers. We're talking people who did their service and then they got out and now they have a family and they're working their job as a teacher or whatever they're doing. Right. And they gave up their work for 3 weeks, and we put this piece together. And actually, in 20 out of 21 days, we worked 20 out of 21 days. Wow. Jacques was just putting this amazing work together, this amazing work choreographing, and it was hard, and he was yelling at people. He was like, what the fuck is wrong with you? You are, you know, and he was like, you can fucking do this. And people were hurt, and he was motivating them, and they loved him, they loved him, they loved him. And I'm telling you, there are people from whatever area who believe in love and kindness that if they saw this guy, they'd be like, oh my God, you cannot. whatever, they would freak out.
They'd be like,
I don't know,
ah.
it's like nobody's business. And we performed this at the Tampa Bay Performing Arts Center in front of 2,500 people. Those
Awesome.
are all veterans back there. Well, not all, because he also mixes with some of his dancers and some local dancers.
Mm-hmm.
But most of those, well, actually, in this photo, these are actually all dancers, except for the one on the top there. I hope my finger wasn't all up in the camera, because I was pointing at the picture. The one on the top is one of, but those are all the veterans and me. Amazing experience. And when you see us right now, we are looking at 2,500 people who are applauding us and applauding the show. Actually, that looks like maybe rehearsal footage right now, but that's the end of the show. And when we performed it for real, for the live audience, that moment, and he lit up the audience so we could all see, and there was more than 2,000 people there going crazy for what we did. And the piece is all military oriented and related. Yeah, amazing experience. Those dancers have been touched. I was touched. We still work together. We still do little dance projects together now around Tampa Bay. That was a Diavolo Dance, Jacques Heim, wherever you are, I love you. You started a movement in Tampa that's still happening. We are all still working together. And you taught me, that was game on. That was another level for me. Just,
Right.
I keep going up and up. And I keep thinking every year, like when I turned 50, I was like, man, I don't know. I did it when I was 49. I was like, I'm 49, man. I don't know if I can keep doing this. And you know what? Mark Brew at Axis said, oh, no, you don't think you can do it? Actually, I'm going to give you the hardest thing you've ever done yet. Then I turned 50, and Mark Brew's like, oh, I got the next hardest thing. Then I turned 51, and Jacques is like, I got the next hardest thing every time I think. So I don't know when, but, man, I feel good, man. I feel strong. Watching these things has motivated me and brought that energy back. Although it's, and I haven't brought it back, but I'm ready. Game on. I got 20 more years left in me.
Right on, man. No, I know exactly what you mean. I mean, it's when you get energized by the things that you've done, like going back and like I was like, scrolling through my little Facebook feed, like I said, right? There's 6 years of stuff. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I did that. That's been, oh my, yeah, I remember that. Oh, hey, look at me. Yeah, it's powerful. I mean, and you are very inspiring. So I just want to say thank you for that.
Thank you, man.
On that same kind of note, maybe to wrap things up, what advice or what kind of tips or any thoughts that you might have for aspiring dancers or folks that look at you as someone who might as like a role model or something that they want to pursue? Any tips for those folks?
Well, I can tell you, when I started, there were no opportunities for disabled dancers, in the area, and I just had to keep showing up and finding opportunities, looking for people. I think you have to, it's kind of silly or whatever. No, I don't think it's silly. Many people won't, some people will, but it's the whole law of attraction thing, man. You have to keep that energy, even in those tough times, even right now with everything that has happened recently in the world,
Especially now.
Yeah. You have to keep that drive alive somehow. You got to keep that game on attitude no matter what happens. And I can't promise anyone how anything's going to turn out if they keep that attitude, but I can promise you that if you drop it, if you let the situations around you or the outside world influence you, and you let something there cause you to give up, you're not going to make it. But the only way those moments are going to come, you can't stop it. That's going to happen for everybody. So you have to keep that game on attitude. And you will draw people who see that in you. They'll come. They will find you. You will draw it to you, and you'll build relationships with people of the same mindset. And those relationships will build into opportunities. It'll happen.
That's awesome. So take that to heart, people. It's true. And what's funny, too, is that some of those people that you do bring to you and attract to you, when you're definitely trying to pursue your passion, you might even find them to be kind of odd, and like even you might like prejudge them when you first come across them, and you're like, oh, that person's a nut, and then all of a sudden you find out that you know them personally, and you just met them, and now like you're communicating with them, and they're like they're on your squad, so you have to keep a super open mind.
Like when I met you, that's how I felt.
Yeah, exactly, right? Who's this damn hippie? Where's Steve Turner? Why'd you send me this ginger? Touche. Awesome. Well, Dwayne, thank you so much for this talk today. This has been really, like I said, inspiring for me. I feel like I got a lot out of this. Your story is awesome, and you're a great dude, and I'm so glad that we met and that we stayed in touch. And I just kept seeing all these cool pictures on Facebook of you in airports and flying around the world, and I'm just like, man, Dwayne is doing it, dude. He's doing
Oh,
it.
man. Thank you, man. Thank you.
Absolutely. All right, so you have the Rev Dance YouTube channel, and
Yep.
then so people are going to be watching this pretty much in concert with you releasing your whole new social media and internet presence, right? So what's the website you want to share?
www.revdance.org. Revdance. Revdance.org, and then from there you'll find all our other links.
Awesome. All
Yeah.
right, man. Well, thank you so much, Dwayne. You're the best.
Oh, thank
And thank you guys for watching. Please do me a favor, like, subscribe, share, comment, etc. Follow your passions. Give yourself the benefit of the doubt, and help make this world as good as it can be. Thank you, guys. Thanks for watching. Thank you, Dwayne.
Thank you, man. Thanks. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.